Right. Coming out at work as not a lesbian. Now, I'm sure there's tons of videos out there about people who have like stereotypical characteristics of what it is to be gay or what it is to be a lesbian or whatever in between, and then they're actually, straight and just kidding, like you're married with like 14 children and, all that jazz, right? Okay. So for me specifically, it's like I possess, as you can see externally, I got a shaved head and I obviously wear, more masculine sided clothes. So it's automatically assumed I'm a lesbian, which I'm used to, which I'm okay with. Well, I'm not okay with it, ish, is the thing. So coming out at a new job or at work in general as not a lesbian has been an interesting story for me, to be completely honest. And the only way I can say that I've handled it is by actually like going out and getting to know my coworkers, because to be completely honest, like there's no reason for me to go up to anyone that I'm not interacting with in a professional sense and be like, by the way, I know what you're thinking. I know, I have a shaved head, which means I must eat pussy, right? No, you see, you can't do that, right? But word gets around to the fact that, there's all rumors. There's always, people talking about people, like, I wonder if so-and-so is down, or this guy's completely flames. Like, people just, like, assume. That's what you call stereotypes, and that's life. So if I'm not in a professional sense, which I've gone out with some of my coworkers, and I'm actually now friends with some of them. And of course, once you get a little like candid about life and get out of the professional scheme, usually at some point I'm asked, so what's your deal? And I'm asked like it generically, like, what's your deal? Or so, well, like, who are you dating? Like something like that. And usually when I'm asked like, what's your deal? I'll be like, what do you mean? Like what I have for lunch today? Like, what I'm doing this weekend? Like, so, like, I know what they're asking, but I like to, like, make it uncomfortable because it's fun for me. So, usually, I tend to lead off with, if you're asking me if I bang chicks, the answer is yes. If you're asking me if I fuck dudes, the answer is also yes. But the way I see it is it's a little more complicated than that, because I don't feel like I'm a lesbian. And if I'm with somebody who has the attention span to ask more questions or is actually genuinely interested, which the people I've been hanging out with outside of work are, then I go in and I share, and I'm like, well, I feel like I'm a guy on the inside, and then however much they want to know, whatever questions they ask, I go into it. And it's like those are things I have to deal with as somebody that is not looking to actually fully transition. And I've already gone into reasons why I don't want to necessarily. I mean, today, tomorrow could change. But for me, like, I feel so confident in being like who I am and how I think that it's really right now just an effort to make people around me feel comfortable. So if I have like acquaintances that want to assume that I'm a lesbian, like, fine, whatever. Or even if family members, like, it doesn't really bother me. I just kind of let it go. It is what it is. I don't have any problem being like, oh, like, this is my girlfriend or this is my boyfriend, should that ever arise. But in my head, like, I feel male and I feel like a straight male. So it's always interesting to have that type of like dichotomy that I deal with. And so the people that I've interacted with on a personal level outside of work are very chill about it. And I tell people straight up, like pronouns don't bother me. I say that like my first name does bother me, but not in a work sense. I go by Wedge is like my nickname, like that's just like life. But yeah, all of the coworkers that I've shared it with are super chill, and they're like, that's so interesting, I want to know more. And it's beyond like, they like don't give a fuck who I want to fuck. It's actually more the questions of like, well, how do you think, like, when did you start thinking this way, or why don't you want to take hormones, and what do you feel uncomfortable about, if it's okay to ask you, you know what I mean? And it's very respectful and very, inquisitive, and I actually like welcome questions and all that stuff. But it's it's like a fine line between like, fuck, like I know that motherfucker like thinks that like I'm a lesbian. And it's like I gotta deal with that unless I want to go hang out with somebody like on the side and just like, you know, explain my life story. So it sucks when you have acquaintances and that's what they want to think, but if the people that, you know, you actually care about and are actually friends with, for me anyways, they've been on board and they're completely chill, and yeah, they understand me a little bit better, I understand them a little bit better, and it works out great, especially when you do what I do in this world, which is writing, and a lot of I work in a communications department, and you know, communicating is like a fundamental like core feature of like the job role. So you know, it's nice to be in a space that I feel comfortable in, and my entire like unit, my entire department is completely chill, and overall the company is pretty chill. But like I said, I gotta deal with the fact that like people are gonna assume that I'm a lesbian just based on stereotypes and my head being shaved and the way that I carry myself, but it is what it is. Other than that, the people I actually vibe with, completely chill, and I've had no problems so far thus far. So that's my experiences of not coming out as not a lesbian, and I'm sure there'll be more because I've only hung out with, I don't know, a half a dozen people outside of work. So, but that's my story as of now, and I hope this gets to someone somewhere. But yes, that's all I gotta say. Happy that weird in between space between Christmas and New Year's, and we're done.